Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie. We're pre-taping this on October the 23rd, 2001, and we're very honored to have a very special guest for our history tape number 440, 440. And as we have progressed through our history, this week we happen to be honoring the Grand Prairie High School Alumni Association's honorees. Today we have the Outstanding Educator for 2001 as selected by that Grand Prairie High School Alumni Association. We're so pleased to have on the dais Dale Eubanks Jones. Dale, welcome to the set. Yes. Now, I believe you've been on our set before one time when we recognized some of the gophers that had progressed through the educational systems and had become a teacher or an educator in some sense of the word. But I think today you have reached really the pinnacle in being recognized by some of your peers as an outstanding educator, and with your permission, we're going to take you back to the basics. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. Would you look out into your camera, please, Dale, and tell us about the real Dale Eubanks when you were a young lady, and tell us your parents' name, brothers and sisters, something about where you were born, and a little bit about your early life before you went to school.
Well, I was born in the panhandle of Texas. I was born in Shamrock, Texas. Mm-hmm. My mother is Madeline Banks, and she's still a resident here in Grand Prairie. And I lived in the panhandle for about the first 5 years of my life, and then we moved here after World War II. And I spent the rest of my growing up years in Grand Prairie.
All right, you have a father's name.
My father is Charles Dale Eubanks. He was killed in World War II.
All right, okay. And brothers or sisters?
Have two brothers, Terry Banks of Burleson and Mike Banks of Grand Prairie.
All right, okay. You have several of them nearby, and that is a blessing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. And as a young lady, when did you come to Grand Prairie, Texas?
We came to Grand Prairie approximately when I was about 5.5 years old.
Right.
So I began my education here in Grand Prairie schools.
All right. What brought your family to Grand Prairie, Texas?
My mom was a nurse here at North American, and so that's why we settled here in Grand Prairie.
Okay. Being a nurse at North American Aviation in those years was a very prestigious job and very, very necessary. A lot of things went on at the plant at North American Aviation. True. All right. Coming to Grand Prairie, where did you begin your schooling?
I began first grade at Travis Elementary, and remembered my first grade teacher to this day, Mrs. Frazier, what an impact she made on my life. So my early years were at Travis.
At Travis Elementary?
Yes, ma'am. And then we moved away briefly. For 2.5 years we were in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Okay.
But came back in the 7th grade.
Came back to this area?
To Grand Prairie Junior High, which is now Lee.
Okay, let's get down Grand Prairie Junior High. And favorite teachers, favorite subjects, maybe some of your favorite classmates during that time?
Well, it's very easy to identify my favorite teacher, and that was the first year Jefferson Junior High opened. Yeah. And my favorite teacher, and still is to this day, was James Wallace.
Mr. Jim, and taught history?
History.
Yes, he did. Oh, yes.
And did make it come alive. What a wonderful teacher he was, and a very positive influence on my life, and probably has influenced me to be where I am today.
Oh, so, what a wonderful tribute to that very fine young man. All right, and at Grand Prairie High School, from there you went on to Grand Prairie High School, and what?
Well,
tell me your principal, your favorite teacher.
Well, Tom Hawley was the principal there, and what a presence he had in the school and in our lives.
Yes. He was tough, wasn't he?
He was, but he was kind of a gentle bear. I think if you followed the rules, you loved him. Yeah. But he was a fine man. And his wife was also probably a great influence on me. What a lovely lady she was, Thelma Hawley.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I was very involved in high school. I was in Future Nurses. I was in, Olga Collop was my sponsor, and I had great aspirations of becoming a nurse, to follow in my mother's footsteps, but somewhere along the way I determined that wasn't for me and went into education. But Grand Prairie High School holds very fond memories for me. It was a time growing up in the 50s when it was, I believe, a safer, kinder, happier time than what our students face today. So I have very pleasant memories of those years.
Your favorite subjects and your favorite electives?
My favorite subject always was anything to do with reading.
Reading, okay.
Still a passion in my life is reading. And I liked PE. Back in the 50s, though, girls were very limited in what they could do.
No basketball.
No, we had to play intramural basketball.
Yes.
But we did not have the athletic opportunities that the girls have today. So it's probably a regret of mine because I think I would have been more involved athletically.
Well, you were into either the cheerleading, pep squad, whatever.
I was a Gopher Guard.
You were Gopher Guard.
Gopher
Okay.
Guard at Grand Prairie High School. Graduated in 1959.
1959, okay. And at 1959, and you look around and say, where am I going and what am I going to do? And what did you?
I went to Texas Women's University in Denton, where I spent a year as a nursing major, again before I discovered that perhaps education was more my calling. And again, thinking back to Jim Wallace, that was a big reason why. And then I transferred to North Texas.
Okay, right across campus.
Didn't have to go far. And
And changed your major.
to elementary education. Graduated from North Texas in 1962, so only spent 3 years at the university level.
Okay, and when you were at the University of North Texas and changed to education, did you make special inroads to any one career other than maybe teaching that you might like maybe someday to become more than just a teacher?
No, it was always, I wanted to be a classroom teacher. And I spent 16 years of that career in the classroom.
Teaching what?
Taught first grade, second grade, and special education. I began my teaching career at Fannin Elementary, where I was a first grade teacher.
Okay.
And one of the ladies there, Maureen Jones, was a fellow first grade teacher and a very positive influence on my career. Was a mother of one of my 1959 classmates, Martha Jones McCracken.
And a very seasoned teacher.
Yes, she was.
She was gentle.
Thank goodness she took me under her wing. I would never have made it, I don't think, without her. But,
All right.
but taught there at Fannin for several years, and then when Bonham Elementary opened, I transferred over there to be a special ed teacher.
Okay.
And I did teach special ed for several years, and then first grade and second grade at Bonham.
Was this a challenge, the special education?
It was in those days because special ed was limited. It was very limited, so it was a challenge, and not as readily acceptable, no, as it is today. So that was a challenge.
Yes, it was.
Good experience, though.
All right. And then from teaching special ed, where did Dale go then?
Well, in 1980, I was assigned to Milam Elementary as the principal. I had gone back to graduate school, back to the University of North Texas, and had gotten my master's degree. So my first principalship was at Milam.
At Milam.
And I
an exemplary school a couple of years ago.
Yes, and I stayed there for 11 years.
Oh, mercy.
And then I decided the teachers needed to change, certainly for me, and I needed to change too, so I requested to be considered for Garner Elementary's principal and got that principalship.
And when?
1991.
Okay.
And
it was kind of a new school then.
It was only about 4 years old.
4 years old, yes.
I followed George Angel as the principal, goodness.
And going to Garner, how different was it than Milam?
It was a lot different. We had more stay-home moms, more volunteer involvement.
Yes.
So it was a different school climate.
Yes.
Lots more involvement from the community and the parents.
Yes, and that was a blessing, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was certainly different. Not that the Milam parents were not involved, because they were, but many of them were working. They were. And I stayed 10 years at Garner as the principal.
You just have a long-running tour wherever you're principal.
Obviously.
Yes.
And then this year was my biggest challenge of all, and that was to open the new Irvin C. Witt Elementary School.
Okay, and that's out near the country club.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
a gorgeous campus. Tell us about your new campus.
It's just beautiful. It is just beautiful. It's state of the art. Grand Prairie School District has outdone itself with the floor plan. It's the same floor plan as Daniels, Moore Elementary, and the new Crockett, but just a beautiful facility. It really is.
Open or closed classrooms?
Closed, self-contained.
Closed is my favorite, yes, self-contained classrooms. No distractions.
We have 2 computer labs. We have 15 computers in the library for students to do research, and it's just beautiful. I think the taxpayers are going to be very pleased. We're going to have our dedication November the 11th.
That's a good day.
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's a Sunday. And just sorry that Mr. Witt did not live to see his school. He did know that the school was going to be named after him, but hopefully he'll be there with us in spirit.
Yes, he will be there in spirit, won't he? Your students at this school, are they stay-at-home moms, or do you have a mixture?
We have a mixture. We do. We have quite a few stay-home moms, and very interested in the school. But we have lots of working parents too. Okay. So a little bit different.
All right. And as the principal for the very first time in a school, did you have any input on the design or anything, or did you just get to open this and run it your way?
No, the school district had already done all the hard part.
All right.
They had done all the work for it, and like I say, I can't think of anything I would have hoped that they would have done differently. Did have some input, school colors and school mascot, that kind of thing, but.
Well, now you're situated, and I know that the Grand Prairie High School Alumni Association is very excited about your being our honoree this time as outstanding educator. But let's talk about the real deal now. And you have a family. We need to talk about your family.
I do. I have 4 children.
Let's have the 4 children.
My oldest daughter, Kara, is in her 2nd year of teaching at Zavala Elementary.
Following in Mom's footsteps.
5th grade teacher. She sure is. I have a son, Jay, a son, Lorne, and a daughter, Micah.
Micah,
all grown, all married. We have 8 grandchildren.
Oh, 8 grands. Can you name all 8 of your grands?
I probably could, but I don't dare try.
Don't dare try. Let's don't
I'd leave
miss
somebody
one.
off.
Olin Massey was on the show not too long ago, and he could name all of his grandchildren except one, and he was just heartbroken.
He'll never live that down, will he? Well, I have 4 boys and 4 girls, so it's nice and balanced.
Nice and balanced. And where do they live?
2 live in Virginia, and the rest live in this area.
Locality. Okay. Yeah. And we'll have to proselyte those in Virginia and bring them back here one of these days and get them all back in the nest.
Well, I'll tell you how important Grand Prairie High is to me, because my first husband, Jim Brown, was also a classmate in 1959.
Yes.
I've recently remarried after his death and married another classmate of 1959, Royce Jones. But all 4 of my children are graduates of Grand Prairie High School.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And my daughter-in-law is a graduate of Grand Prairie High School.
Oh.
So the Gophers are big in our lives.
That is wonderful. Now, we have a few minutes left on this tape. I'd like for you to look out into your camera and say what you'd like to parents and students that may be looking at teaching as a career. How exciting it can be. It's hard work, you have to pursue it, but I'd like for you to say something about your career and encourage them in that direction.
Well, I would encourage students to consider education for a career. It is definitely a calling. You're never going to get rich, but you're going to get paid by seeing the successes of your students. And what greater payment could that be? I just cannot imagine. I would encourage those students to certainly follow the tenets of our Character Counts program that we instituted last year, because I think above all else that if you have strong character, it's going to carry you through life no matter where you go. It's very, very important.
Now, I know you have a preferred church because I found you there last Saturday night where you were spending money on
Yes.
silent auctions and eating barbecue.
Yes.
And tell me about your church.
First United Methodist Church. Yes,
Yes.
I've been a member there for about the last 39 years.
39 years.
Grew up in First Baptist Church here in Grand Prairie, but when I married, went over to the Methodist Church.
Yes.
And it's just been a delight and a source of great comfort to me all these years. It's a very active church. And
Leighton Bearden is a very fine
yes,
minister.
definitely. We hope we can hang on to him for a long time.
Yes, and not have the powers that be move them around to where they would like to be, but I know that he is most loved, and so is Pat
He really
Thresher
is.
there.
They're
And
great staff.
We enjoy doing fellowship with the First United
We always
Methodist
enjoy
Church.
seeing you there with us.
Yes, yes. And did y'all make a lot of money on your
We did,
deal?
about $25,000.
Great,
So-
great. That goes into many different things that
Yes, it
work
does.
of the church, and that
Yeah,
is
a
really
great church
and,
effort.
And maybe the new parking lot and Family Life Center across the street. Yes.
Won't that be a joy?
Yes.
It really will.
Yeah, that sounds very, very exciting.
We're
So-
looking forward to that.
All right. Now, other than that, I know that you're into All-Star of Teachers and Principals Associations and whatever. Do you have any hobbies, particularly?
Reading, as I
Reading.
mentioned before, is a passion. I enjoy movies, old movies especially.
Yeah.
So I like renting movies, but going to the movies also. And I do quilting. I
Oh,
am
you
a
do?
beginning quilter. So
How
that's
wonderful.
something after my retirement that I hope I can pursue and get better at. So.
Oh, I must let you see all of the quilting videos that I tape a quilting show every morning at 7:30 on Channel 62, and I don't quilt at all, but they have some of the most exciting patterns and things. And when you retire, if I'm still alive, you may just have my quilting videos.
Well, I have a feeling you'll still be alive when I retire, Ruthie.
All right. Now, I'd like for you to take this opportunity to thank those who've supported you in your career, and for those at the Grand Prairie High School Alumni Association who have given you this special recognition where you get to go out on the Gopher Bowl floor on homecoming night and be honored and saluted and all of this good stuff.
Well, it is certainly a great, great honor, and I'm very humbled by this. My successes are the successes of those that I've worked with all these years, my students, the wonderful staffs that I've had. But certainly to be recognized by your alumni group is certainly something that will be very, very dear to me for the rest of my life, and I'm very appreciative of it. I'm very honored.
Okay, that is really great. Anything else you would like to say to your family that's given you lots of support over these years when you had to grade papers late into the night and all of the good stuff?
They really have. I could never have gone to graduate school without the support of my children, my husband, my family. So I really owe much of where I am today from the support of my family, again, and my friends. It's something you can't do alone.
And how about your mom?
And my mom, she's
Let's talk about your mom.
she's 82. She's a retired nurse, and she has been she was a single mom and really supportive to me, and so I owe her a lot.
You did not follow in her footsteps as a nurse, but the second best thing, you tried it, and then a spin-off
Right.
into teaching, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nursing was better off without me, I think. But
Better off. All right. Do you have any other hobbies or anything? We have about a minute left.
well, I can't think of anything. I am looking forward to retirement, though, and maybe next year, and so I'm looking forward to getting to pursue some of those hobbies. So.
Would you think that being a principal after all of these years and a principal of a new school would lead you into any furthering of your career higher on the ladder in education?
The only thing I can think of possibly is helping adults learn to read as a volunteer.
Literacy or...
Yes, a literacy effort that would help adults.
Okay.
That's always been something that I thought I would like to help with.
Okay.
So.
Lewis is giving us a little bit of direction. I think we have enough. Lewis says we have 8 minutes left. Lewis, are you sure? Louis says we have, so we can talk for 8 minutes about some of the wonderful things that you might like to tell us about. What I'd like for you to do, I'd like for you to talk with the students and tell them how important it is to obey their parents, follow their teachers, and just help in their pursuit of happiness through following the lead of others. So many of them want to do it their way. And anything you would like to say to the boys and girls?
Well, we have seen a bit of a change over the 38 years that I've been with the Grand Prairie schools. A little bit of a change in family outlook and value system. But boys and girls, I would ask you to follow all the principles of respecting your adults, respecting those people who are in charge, or whether it's teachers, whether it's a policeman, a fireman, whomever. But again, to develop strong character and a strong sense of responsibility, honesty, all the things that make for good people. I think that if you have strong character and then you set goals for yourself, that whatever you determine that you can do, that you want to do, you will be able to do. There are people in the schools and the community who will help you follow those goals and accomplish them. So I'd encourage you to use your teachers and the people in your schools, your churches, your communities to help you achieve those goals.
Since you have had an experience in educating some of the disabled, would you ever consider going into a volunteer program? You mentioned the literacy, but that is something that's so much needed. Would you consider going into volunteer work doing that after your retirement, maybe?
Well, I've also thought about ways that I can help the community, and two areas appeal to me a lot, and that is one, the Meals on Wheels program, and also volunteering in the hospital setting. I think those are two areas that would be of interest to me because of the needs there, especially with our elderly folks who are shut-ins.
And when you reach that retirement special status, I'd like to know if you will consider traveling, and if so, do you have a desire to travel any at all?
Yes, I do. I'm rather a homebody, though.
Yeah.
I like to stay in the nest at home. But yes, I would like to see our country. And I've been very limited with my traveling experience because of my work schedule. But yes, I do look forward, my husband and I look forward to seeing parts of this country that neither one of us have seen. So that is going to be a passion that we're going to pursue.
And as far as traveling outside this country, how does that grab you?
In this day and time, it really doesn't appeal to me, Miss Jackson.
Yes,
I think that at my age, if I can see the rest of the United States, I'm going to be doing really well. So
see it while we still have it all together.
That's true.
Yes,
that's
that is
true.
wonderful.
So that's my goal. I think there are so many wonderful places in our country to see and to visit and to meet people and enjoy our different cultures right here. I think I'm going to be pretty busy.
Yes, you are. And as a seasoned principal, I'd like for you to look out into your camera and give some advice to young teachers that are doing their very first year coming onto the scene, how to get along with a principal.
Well, I think you can get along with your principal if you're punctual, if you're dedicated, and if you really show that you love children. I think it's very evident when people don't love children. That's something you just can't fake. So I think that that dedication and that love of children will come through, and principals are going to appreciate you. Don't worry about making mistakes, because you're never going to accomplish anything if you don't take some risk. But be honest in everything you do with children, with parents, and again, character counts with our teaching staff and the folks that are role models for our children.
In all of the things that you have new in your new school, Witt Elementary, what about your new library? Since reading is your main love, did you get to help pull that library together?
No, Belinda Jacks, who's over that department for the school district, has done a marvelous job, and we have a librarian, Lisa Miller, that we enticed to move away from Jefferson Middle School and the gifted program, and she's our new librarian. And the library is definitely the heart of the school, and it's just wonderful. The new books, and she's made it such an inviting place for the children to come and to check out their books and develop their passion for reading there too. It's wonderful.
Now, always a principal needs the support of a group. You said that you have some of the stay-home moms and others that are working. What about your PTA? Do you have an organized PTA group at your school?
We did. We chartered last June, and we have a small group of parents who have been diligently working through these summer months and very dedicated. PTA president is Susan Kemp, who works full-time for Southwestern Bell, but very dedicated. And even though it's a small group, they are already beginning to do marvelous things, and so we're encouraging other parents to join us in our efforts for the kids. So.
You have a new school, new playground, and all of this. What are their fundraising projects directed to?
Field trips, number one.
All
We
right.
want to fund field trips for the students to be able to go off campuses and have different experiences.
And that is allowed now for them to do so many field trips?
Yes, ma'am. They can have one half day per semester or one full day.
And that's each
year.
Classroom?
Yes, each
Well,
grade level.
That'll keep you busy just scheduling that, won't it?
That's true.
Okay.
We've also been able, through the efforts of our reading recovery teacher, Joanna Neal, just called her the wrong name, who has worked diligently with Boeing Corporation to get some corporate funding from them. So we're in the process of possibly having some underwriting of some activities through Boeing.
Has anyone adopted Witt Elementary, a corporation, or anyone adopted it like they have at Bannon and Garcia?
Not officially, but
Not
I
officially.
believe if
You're
Boeing,
working on it.
Yes, I believe it's going to be Boeing if Joanna has anything to do with it. So
That will be a good selling point.
They've been lovely people to work with. They furnished backpacks at the beginning of the school year for children who didn't have school supplies, and I mean they were state-of-the-art backpacks with all the supplies a child would need in there, and so they've already begun to help us. So.
Well, congratulations again, being the outstanding educator, because now Mr. Buddy Berry, principal at Grand Prairie High School, is the person that is most responsible for us having an alumni association. Because several years ago he came to Georgia Clemson and says, let's have homecoming and start an alumni association. And from that, we did a spin-off and had an organizational meeting, and it's happened. And thank goodness it happened, because this way we get to salute some very special people, such as Dale Jones.
Well,
and Dale, thank you for being our outstanding educator.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. My pleasure.
And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.